Hello, my name is Dr. Shonos, and today we have somewhat of a different video. Today is the deck breakdown of the video. This is going to be a simple breakdown of the deck list. We're not going to be showing gameplay. If you guys want to see gameplay on the deck, see the different matchups, there is already videos on my channel, and there will be more. This is just to, like, OP15 is right around the corner, so I kind of just want to show you guys my deck list and kind of give you ideas, tell you maybe if you're newer to the game, tell you what you want to see with this deck, what you want to do with this deck, and some tech cards that you can play on this deck, some budget options maybe even. But yeah, first and foremost, let's start with is this deck meta / is this deck expensive? Yes and yes, this deck will be meta. I don't know if it will be the best deck in the meta. I'm not gonna lie, yellow right now is very overtuned, and a lot of yellow decks do well. Like, not only does yellow counter the purple NL, it does do well against almost every other deck. So I get, if I would to guess, a yellow deck would be the top deck and not a purple deck like NL. But this is definitely top tier. This is definitely up there. This is a deck to win. And yeah, it will be expensive because of that. The deck has this secret rare NL, which will be very hard to get in the West, by the way, because Bandai decided to once again screw the West over and put OP15 with AB04 cards, which, by the way, those AB04 cards were the most important AB04 cards, in my opinion, by the way. With the Borsalino and such. So this will be this and this and this will be competing with those cards. Secret NL hopefully is actually, I think it's actually easier to get, but still will be very hard. And yeah, so this deck will be expensive. Hopefully, thankfully, actually, the cards that will be expensive will not even be the SRNL. I don't think this will be that. It will be expensive if you want to build a deck week 1. If not, then you can just wait a little bit. This will go down. I don't think it's that hard to find this card. Hopefully it's not, but this one will be bumping the deck up pretty much, yeah. Right now, I'm not gonna tell you my estimate on the deck. The estimate on people is that this will be $200 to $300 slash euros. I think euros will be a little bit less than 300, but still 200. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, cards that you want to buy before the OP15 hits. Right now it's a bit too late by the time that this video is coming out, so you should have already bought it, but it's the Pudding and the Divine Departure, by the way. There will be other cards I'll show you, but that's for later segment in the video. But yeah, and the deck is super, very good, like super meta, absolutely meta. The only problem, and I want to get this out of the way right away, is I don't think this deck will be meta for a very long time. So, for example, if you built Ace in OP13, the blue-red Ace, that deck seemed that it's a deck that you built less. So, if you don't really want to spend that much money on a set or on a deck or a new deck, you can always just adapt the Ace and he will be good to go. I don't think this will be the case with NL. I think he'll be very good in the OP15 set, maybe OP16, but I feel like as we go later on the sets, this will be very, like, it's going to be very less played, and I don't think this is a deck built to last because of how the engine works. But for now, it's very good and it's a very fun deck, and that's why I'm gonna build it. But yeah, I may be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this is a deck that will last, but for now it doesn't seem like it. But hopefully it will be. Hopefully. Don't take these words with a grain of salt. So now let's go into the advantages that the deck has. And for me to tell you that, let me just tell you a little fun fact. I was going to do a full-on guide of this deck because this deck is so much fun, and I usually do full in-depth guides for the decks that I enjoy the most, and this is definitely up there, man. Like, I haven't had this as much fun with the deck since RP Law, to be honest. I didn't do a guide because of one of the biggest strengths of the deck, which is flexibility. This deck does not play a lot of like strong bodies. The only strong bodies you play are these two, but the deck has a lot of adaptability thanks to its events. Like you can do so much with the events, and like you pretty much are ready to go against any matchup because of the events. You can always do something. You can always slow down your opponent. You can always counter your opponent in some way somehow thanks to these events. This is also why I don't think NL will last that much, because as the meta goes, maybe these events will get outdated and we will not have that many events to replace or any cards to replace on NL. But again, I hope I'm wrong, and yeah. But for now, these events are definitely one of your biggest strengths, along with NLs. But I would, like, even without NLs, I think the events are really good, really adaptable, and the fact that you have flexibility with this means that you are a threat to everyone because of what you can do with the deck. This is also why I didn't do the guide, because there's no line of combo with the deck. You do have in like the first 2-3 turns line of combo that you kind of want to do, but most of the time you're just reacting to what your opponent is doing and reacting to his board, his lives, his hand. And so this is definitely the biggest strength that the deck has. Another strength that the deck has is, it's not consistency, but it is. The deck is consistent, but not that much consistent. Am I making sense here? Like, the deck is consistent, but there will be times where you really need to find a card and the deck does not find it. But like, that is so rare to happen that I really wouldn't consider it a flaw of the deck. So yeah, another strength is consistency. You're always cycling cards. Like, you play a pudding, that pudding will search you an event. You play an Ohm, that will replace itself. Satori the same, Shura the same. Holly is the only one that does not replace itself. The rest is always drawing. And Altor, also Divine Departure, are cards that do not replace themselves in hand. They have other uses, but still the rest, every other card has multiple uses and always replace themselves by drawing another card. So you're always like doing combos, and that is the strength. You have consistency because everything you do will be replacing itself in your hand, so you're always drawing, you always have combos that you can do. And yeah, those are the two biggest strengths, and the last biggest strength is the fact that you reach big strength, not the biggest. The biggest is the event, sorry. The last big strength that you have is you reach your late game by turn 3. By turn 3, you're already playing your end game. This makes your early game very strong, and many decks will not be able to deal with that early game aggression. Obviously, your late game will be weaker because NL can only play with 6 dons throughout the whole game. It doesn't matter what you do, you can only play with 6 dons, so that is, by the way, a flaw in the deck. But the fact that you can play the end game very soon it's very good, and it's a strength. So weaknesses is that the fact that we only have 6 ton, which stops a lot of the deck building in this deck. You can only play cards to 6 ton because you only have 6 ton no matter what. And then so some decks that you could use here, you cannot use it. So yeah, that's one of the only flaws. And the other one is that comes with the fact that you only have 6 tons, is the late game. You have very weak late game, so you need to end the games really fast. If the game drags out, it usually means that you're gonna be in bad positions. This will be even truer against late game decks. I already gave you an example here, which was Ace. I'll talk about Ace. Ace, if he gets to Ace only gets stronger as the game goes on, and into this NL is actually easier for him to get into that state where the later game you actually don't have answers to. But obviously, again, our early game is very strong. So let's get into the deck, shall we? The deck is 4 Charlotte Puddings, 4 Ohms, 4 Satoris, 3 Shuras, 4 Hollies. This is your early game. Everything is early game, but this is what you want to play on your first and second turn. On your first turn, you usually actually prefer to play Pudding. Pudding is a card that does not go down 1 Dawn like the other cards right here. That costs us 1, by the way. You always want to go first. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say you always want to go first, because your leader effect gets the most value when you go first to play these NLs with +1 Dawn. But yeah, sorry if you hear the sirens. So you actually, in your first turn, you do love to play Pudding first. This is because Pudding is the only card that you do not go -1 Dawn. This means on your next turn you'll be at 3 Dawn, which helps you play the Holly, sorry, plays the Holly, and then you can use your leader effect to bump, to go all the way to 6 cards, to 6 Dawn cards, attach everything to Pudding, so you Pudding, and then you still have 1 active Dawn from your leader effect to play another vassal that will draw. This means that if they deal with Pudding, you already have Ollie and you already have another vassal to swing. So your board is already set up with small bodies for the whole game, and then you can just concentrate on playing NLs. That's pretty much it. That's why the Pudding turn 1 is very strong. Obviously, you only play 4 cards. This is not searchable. It is searchable with NL, but it only comes on later turns. So yeah. You cannot really hope for it. But yeah, this is the strongest card you can play turn 1. The rest obviously still draw. You go down -1 Dawn. Don't be afraid to go down -1 Dawn on your first turn. Next turn you'll be at 2 Dawn. You use your leader effect to ramp 1 Dawn. You will be at 3 active and then 3 rested. You can attach those 3 rested to one of your vassals, or even Pudding if you play it later, and this will mean that they'll be at 5k, which usually means they can swing onto the opponent's leader. So still good. The 3 active Dawn usually is to play the Holly, and this is what you want to do turn 2. Turn 2, you already noticed that I'm always saying that you get 3 active Dawn, 3 active Dawn, 3 active Dawn. This is because you always want to set up Holly on your second turn. If you set up Holly on your second turn, you're already building like insane advantage on your on the match. Holly is 4 of you must, because all the decks that counter you are yellow, and Holly is the deck that helps you with these matchups the most. So I highly suggest you playing 4 of. I think it's pretty core to play 4, but there are some people who don't like to play with Holly. So you either play 4 or you don't play it at all, but I really love Holly, so I'm not even thinking about removing it. It's definitely 4 of, and Holly is the strongest to play on the second turn, because if you do your shenanigans on turn 1, turn 2 you can use your leader effect to go to 3 Dawn, however you would like it, and then you play Holly, and then next turn Holly will be able to keep swinging either 8Ks with your leader effect or 9Ks with your leader effect, because your leader does give you a plus active Dawn, and then you attach 4 rested Dawn. So if you only attach 4 rested Dawn, then your Holly swings 8K. If you want to use the other active Dawn to play another vassal to draw, but if you want, and I do this most of the time, just attach another active Dawn to make a 9K swing. This means that instead of giving you 2 2Ks, they need to give you 3 cards in hand no matter how. So that would be 2 2Ks plus 1 card. So it's always better value on the 9K swing. Also, if they don't counter, they take double lives. Holly and Ohm have double attack when Holly is on the field. And if only one attack of Holly goes through, or Ohm with double attack, usually already helps you a lot. Remember, one of our flaws is because we don't have that much. We don't have late game. We just don't have late game. And so if the game drags out a lot, we usually lose. Because we have double attack, the game will not drag out as much, because we're going to be threatening it for a game much sooner. That's also why you want to play Holly at 4, by the way. So yeah, going a little bit back on the turn 1 Dawn. Turn 1, which is when you have 1 Dawn. If you don't play Pudding, the next best thing is Home if you already have Holly. Because again, if you set up Home first turn, then next turn you'll be at 2 Dawn. 2 Dawn, leader effect, ramp to 3 Dawn, active Dawn by the way. Then attach 3 rested Dawn to Home. Then you can play Holly. Holly will give this double attack, and that means it's already a 5k double attack onto leader. They will counter, then you can still use your leader swing, which usually they'll take. Next turn, if they deal with Ohm, it doesn't really matter. Ohm is at 6k by the way during their turn because of Holly, so it's harder to remove. So he can stay on later turns because his attacking effect gives minus 1k power. This is good to the events, by the way. We'll get to that. So it's harder to remove on turn 1. And then next turn you can keep doing the 9ks with Holly. So yeah, it's just a lot of pressure. So if you don't find pudding turn 1, Ohm is usually the second best option. I'm not gonna lie, if I have Holly, sometimes I still give priority to Ohm instead of pudding. But, well, it depends. It depends what you want to do, depends on the matchup. Like in yellow, maybe you want to give priority to Ohm to keep that double attack, you know? But maybe in other matchups, maybe you do prefer pudding. Also depends on your hands. If you don't have that many events, usually you love to have events in your hand. The only cards you do want to have in your hand that are not events are NLs, usually on mid game to late game. So yeah, pudding helps a lot as a first drop. But yeah, this is like the priority actually goes like this, like in your hand in terms of turn 1. Usually you love to play pudding, if not you love to play Home, if not you love to play Satori, because when he attacks you get to see the top 2 cards in your deck and then you can put it on the bottom, on the top. This means that every single effect that draws, including Satori, including Shura, Ohm, that draw cards, it means if you put it on the top deck you'll be drawing that, okay? If you see that there are cards that you don't really need, usually what I do is, if I swing a Satori and I see the 2 top cards are like a Holly and a Shura, I just send him to the bottom deck because these cards are not that needed along the line and you always want to see events / NLs. So yeah. And next, the last priority on the turn 1 is Shura. Shura is here because it's a plus draw and maybe the rush can have some value, but usually you don't really need the rush. The rush has a good value in one situation, which is when they have a searcher rested that they are using to swing onto your other vassals or pudding, and you don't have Holly, so you need to protect them better. And this means if Shura gets his rush and removes that that searcher, that usually is a 2k power, it means that your opponent will have to use its leader swing to get rid of this, so they become pseudo blockers. That is a good value. This is also the value of one of the tech cards that you can play instead of pudding. I'll get to that. But yeah, but the priority goes like from left to right actually. So, and after on turn 3, you want to be playing NL. Usually I love to play NL secret first and then play the blocker NL, but if whatever you have, you play. They are good in every situation, but in the first order I do love to play secret NL to search, and then the blocker NL because it's a blocker that is a 10k on your opponent's turn. And then next turn you start swinging with these, plus Holly hopefully, plus leader, and that's a lot of pressure. So yeah, this is your line of combo, by the way. The rest comes with adaptability. You want to react to your opponent's board. So let's get to the events. Divine Departure is, I'm playing at 3 of, people are playing either 2, 3 or 4, they don't play just 1. Why? Because this is one of the best cards you have to remove the late game for your opponent. So if the game drags out just a tiny bit, you do usually want to play Divine Departure main effect, not the counter. Counter is also good, by the way. The counter event, like you discard this plus one of these cards and you get plus 3k, so this is pretty much a 2k counter. Also, if you don't need more NLs, these are bricks. So you can do with that, or Lightning Dragon does not have counter effect, so yeah. But yeah, usually I do use it as the main effect. So if we're going against a matchup that does have good late game and the game is starting to drag out a little bit, Divine Departure main effect is really good. You need to attach 1 Dawn, and then you rest 5 Dawn, which is the rest of all of your Dawn, and then you give minus 8k. This will make your whatever character on the other side of the field be on the range of either Mamaragan or Eltor. Mamaragan rests a character, so which means we can rest the character that just got minus 8k and then swing with one of our smaller bodies or leader, and they usually then just go out. Or we can just KO it right away with Eltor. If it is a 12k power body, what you usually want to do is you play Divine Departure, which gives us minus 8k. This will mean they are at 4k power. Eltor can only KO a 3k or less, so you usually use Lightning Beast Kitten, which gives a character minus 1k power. or you give him a Ohm Swing, which also gives minus 1k power, and then they'll enter the in range of Eltor. If not, you can always Mama Dragon and then Lightning Dragon, and you know, the body that you just gave minus 8k will freeze till the next turn, so they'll not be able to swing with it. And if we want, we can maybe deal with it next turn, because they'll still be arrested very hard, because 12k bodies are are very hard to deal with, obviously. But yeah, also another thing, another good synergy that you guys have here is with Mama Dragon plus Lightning Dragon. So your opponent has a 5k body, you Mama Dragon the body, then Lightning Dragon, and that means they won't be able to swing with it next turn. And yeah, and during your turn, if you do this on a blocker during your turn, they'll be without blocker for 2 turns, so that's great. If not, Lightning Dragon has value on its own. When your opponent swings with a 5k or 6k, you can just freeze it. This Lightning Dragon is a card that once got announced. I did not like it, I'm not gonna lie. But as the cards on OP15 started to get revealed more, I actually like it a lot now. Because there's a lot of anti-removal right now. So the freeze will always, like, it's not as good as removal, but it's the best second option. And I think how the meta goes, it's Lightning Dragon, the fact that it freezes is very good. Much better than if you would KO. So I actually did start liking this card. Okay. So you guys can see the combos here. Like, you want to be using a lot of events to keep your combos going. Don't worry, except for Eltor and Divine Departure, all other events replace themselves. Mama Dragon even replaces itself if used as a counter. So most of these events do have a counter effect, which is just a 2k counter for only or else. So you can only use this for your leader or these two. You cannot use for this here. For these here. Mama Dragon can be used as a counter for everybody. You still draw if you counter, but he only gives plus 1k power. So it's kind of only a 1k counter, but it replaces itself, so it's very good. This is also why it's an SR. But yeah. So the synergy is Mama Dragon, like a lot of synergy between everybody except Vori. Why am I playing Vori? There will be a deck card that I will show you that usually replaces Vori. I'm playing Vori because of green color. Green color is very annoying against us, and I think here on the West people will abuse it a bit more. Green color decks have a lot of cards that stop 6k costs or less from attacking or from refreshing, so that means they can deal with our NLs and every other of our swings with that. And again, we need to finish the game fast, so if they stop our aggression, it will be very bad. Vori is like, it gives us +2 costs, so if you give these to the NLs, it means they cannot get frozen or stopped from attacking. And so so this is like the protection for it. Not only that, you give +2 cost and it replaces itself. Don't remember, this card does replace itself, but it's a card that does not go, like, it does not have synergy with any of these. It's just a card that is for those situations. Or if you're not playing against a green color deck, you don't really need the +2 cost, but you do still cycle the card. So you throw this card away, -1 down, and then you draw a card. So it's a cycle. So worst case scenario, it's a 2k counter or a cycle from your deck to see what you need to see. Okay? But yeah. Lightning Dragon, just to continue with the synergy, so Mama Dragon can rest, Lightning Dragon can freeze. If your opponent attacks with a character that is 7k power, let's just imagine, you can Keaton or Ohm, and then Lightning Dragon, because the card is already rested, it attack it. Then next turn, you won't be able to attack. Also, you can play Keaton or swing with Ohm to make a card that just got played to go to 5k, then Mama Dragon rested, then Lightning Dragon freeze it. Or if it's a 5k power, sometimes maybe you don't want to rest it with Mama Dragon. You just decrease it with 2 Kittens or a Kitten and Ohm, or 2 Ohm Slings, whatever, and then you just Eltor and just remove it from the game. Eltor gives +1k power, so you're going down 1 Dawn, and you're KOing a 3k power character or less, but it also gives 1k power to any character, including your leader. So, very good. Sometimes I even use it for not KOing, but just to bump the power, because here's the thing. You're throwing down 1 Dawn, right? You're giving plus 1k power. Then you can use your leader effect to get 4 rested on and attach those Dawn. So you still get the value of the Dawn that you just send away. You know? This is just to maximize your value of the Dawn and to maximize your power on the swings. So yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all of the synergies we have here. How do you want to use the events? Very simple. You use all of your 6 Dawn to play either of these NLs. This means all of your Dawn are rested now. Then you just start going down on Dawn with the events. And then you just bump up to max Dawn once again with your leader swing. Worst case scenario, you give up all of your Dawn, go to 0 Dawn, then your leader will put you at 5 Dawn. You can still go down 1 Dawn to be at 4. So once your opponent passes a turn, during your turn you get 2 Dawn, so you're back to 6, so you can be back to spamming the NLs, okay? Now let's go to the deck cards. Whew, this was a long explanation. These are the decks that are popular right now. People usually do some packages here and there and they replace. So, if you don't have Pudding, you can play Gadatsu. Gadatsu was the card that is coming up in OP15. And it's just another vassal that once you play it, you go down 1 Dawn and draw a card. So it's not an event search like Pudding, but it is still, you know, good enough. Also is on KO effect. When he goes to the trash, you get to KO a 2k power or less. So remember what I said was the sorry here. Remember what I said was the value of Sure sometimes where you play it, you get the rush and you swing onto a searcher. So then maybe your vassals become pseudo blockers. It's the same value here on the Gadatsu. People swing onto him, he KOs the searcher, and then maybe your other vassals become pseudo blocker. Next deck is Divine Soldier. This is just a blocker because if you have 6 or less Dawn cards on your field, this character gains blocker. Because your max Dawn is 6, he's always a blocker. He's just a chump blocker that has 1k counter. Usually 1 cost chump blockers don't have counter. This one has because of its limitations that are not really limitations on the NL deck. So yeah, if you want a bit more defense, this is maybe to protect your holies a little bit more, because remember, your events can only give 2k power as 2k counter pretty much. They only function as 2k counter for your NLs. Only Mamaragan, or if you use vassals, can only protect your holy, and so maybe sometimes you should, if they make, let's imagine an 8k swing onto our Holly, which will be at 6k swing during your opponent's turn. You can just block instead of giving 2 cards, or 3 cards in this case, you know, because we don't really have 2k counters. So yeah, this is a good option. Another good option as a 2k counter is Nola. So, if you're playing against a deck that does run removal, usually your Holy is not protected from that removal. It's never protected from that removal, and so it becomes really easy to remove. Just to give you an example, again, I'm gonna bring Ace. Ace as Atmos. So if you go into your second turn, going first, you're going to be with 3 active Dawn, you play Holy, you pass turn. Your opponent, Ace, will be at 4 Dawn. If they play Atmos, they'll bounce that Holy right back, and then you just don't really find the window to play Holy, because next turn you want to play NL. This Nola stops it. Let's imagine if you play Pudding, and you don't go down. On Dawn. Next turn you'll be with 3 Dawn, then you use your Leer effect, be at 4 Dawn. You play Holy, you play Nola, and your Holy is protected from that Atmos on their second turn, okay? Not only that, it's a 2k counter, which is a 2k counter that you can use to protect Holy. Remember, I just told you, Holy cannot be used with events to protect it. So this is just another option as a 2k to protect your smaller bodies that cannot be countered out of. Usually you don't counter out of the vassals when they swing onto them, but for example, when he has Holy, or Holy itself will be at 6k during your Dawn, so it should be a better body to protect. And so if you have extra 2ks that can be used to protect them, Nola is a good option. Not only that, anti-removal, so yeah. Next is the Foxy package. So you don't want to be playing this Foxy if you're not playing Porch. What does Porch do? But Porch pretty much swarms your board into your aggression, and hopefully is searching for Foxy, which is another 2k. Remember the value I told you Nola has as a 2k counter, which can protect Holly, so on and so forth. This is also true with Foxy and Porch. Porch is setting up a 5k body that can swing next turn, as well as searching for 2ks, as well as you can play a Vassal, because she can play a 4k power character or less, so usually you're playing your Holly, you're playing your Gadatsu, or maybe if you're playing Divine Soldier, you can play Divine Soldier as well, and hopefully you're searching for a 2k counter. The problem, and why I'm not playing this package, is because, one, Porch is a brick, so that's a plus another brick to your deck. You don't really like that, you like to have your events. And because you can only search for this Foxy, you can play other Foxy 2Ks, by the way. For example, this is also an option here, you know, how's it called? Gina. But usually you just want to play this Foxy. Why? Because if you don't play this Porch, if you don't use Porch to play Vassal, you can play Foxy, and you can always just trash this Foxy, and because you usually always are down on Dawn, because you only have 6 Dawn as max, he'll be drawing a card, so he's another cycler, okay? The problem I have with this package is Porch is searching and can only grab Foxy, which means you're usually bottom decking your NLs, your events, everything except that Foxy. So that can be a problem, and that was a problem when I tried it. That's why I'm not playing this package. But if you do enjoy, really like to play a more mid-range, so like this is another target. In case you don't see the NLs, you can play the Porch, you know, like you have 4 of, and then yeah. But I really don't see the use of this. I don't think you need it. Again, remember, one of the strengths of the deck is actually consistent, so that's why I don't see the need for this, but if you like it, you can play it. Yeah. Next tech is Sanji. Now, Sanji is very popular, is more popular than Nola. Remember I told you, you can actually, usually people remove Vari for either Nola or Sanji. They do gravitate more towards Sanji. Why? Nola is very anti-removal, yes, but there's so much anti-removal in every single deck right now that removal is not actually that popular. Or it's very niche windows to use it. So people, and especially NLs that don't really care if their Holly or Vassals get bounced, because your NLs cannot get removed. So yeah, so they are not in trouble. The only other guys that are in trouble are your Vassals, slash small bodies. So you usually don't really care if they go away. Even Holly, you don't really care. I at least don't care. Only if I'm against yellow. But there's a lot of factors that come with it, you know, and so it's not really that consistent into removing Holly right after it gets placed. So Sanji is the other option. Sanji is a 2k counter as well, so again, the same thing that you can use on Nola and Foxy as a 2k counter to protect your Holly slash your own buffed with Holly is an option, but not only that, it becomes a 3k cost blocker, 6k power during your turn in your hand if you have less 2 or less Dawn than your opponent. Again, this is very common because your max Dawn is 6. So at some point in the game, this will always be a 3 cost 6k power blocker. So he has an extra use for that. Don't forget, you can play this as a 6k body and then use it to swing to be even more aggressive. So it does add a little bit of more flexibility onto the deck, and that's why it's very popular. I don't know if I'm gonna play it or not. I do like Vari, but usually people don't play Vari for this card. It will be up to you. Do try it. If you like it, then keep it. But again, Mihawk is going up a little bit in popularity in my logo, so for now, Vari will be the option. But if I don't see the option for... if I see that Vari is not really doing much for me except cycling, maybe I'll play the Sanji. Again, the deck is very consistent even without Vari, so you could risk on a Sanji. Last tech card is Gamma Knife. Now, remember I told you about the Divine Departure? Gamma Knife has a similar use, where bigger bodies, usually you use, you want to kind of remove or deal with it. Gamma Knife is just, let me explain it like this. You only want to use Divine Departure on the biggest of the biggest bodies. The Gamma Knife is like a lower key, like you don't really need to use it on that big of bodies. Why do some people play this even if they have Divine Departure? Because Divine Departure is resting. You're using all of your dawns that turn for the Divine Departure. Remember, you need to attach 1 dawn, and then you need to rest other 5 to get to minus 8k, and you only have 6 dawn because of the rules of the leader. So you're using all of your deck, all of your dawn deck, yeah, to play the Divine Soldier. And if you're like playing against a, like if you want to deal with a 7k power, 8k power card, you don't really want to do that. So Gamma Knife is the option. People usually tech 2. Like for example, they're playing 2 Divine Departures, 2 Gamma Knives, or 3 Divine Departures, 2 Gamma Knives, just in case, because you can use the Gamma Knife to decrease 5k, and then most of these 8k, 9k, 7k bodies, you know, kind of the more mid-range, going into late range bodies will be more in range of your Eltor, Lightning Dragon, Mama Dragon, and so on and so forth. So that's why it's very popular as well. The Sanji and the Gamma Knife are the most popular techs right now. So right now I'm not using them. I'm not seeing the need, obviously. This is not the final deck list, this is the deck list I'm going into the meta, into OP15. Right now, I have no problems with the deck list. The deck list looks fine. It's very simple to use. And so I'm not thinking about adding them. But if I want to, I already have the cards. But for you, who is, I hope, because that's the target of this video, is newer to the game, you need to grab these. These are older cards that are not coming up in OP15. These 4 over here are already released, so you need to grab them if you want to play with them. This will come in OP15. So these are easier to test, because if you're opening a box, you're probably going to get them. But if you actually want to see the most meta viable decks, are these 2, so you need to grab them. Both of them pretty cheap. Sanji will be maybe a little bit more expensive, because again, it's very popular on purple NL, and NL is meta, so people will try to we'll try to scalp you a little bit, but I still don't think it will be that much. So yeah, Gamma Knife should be like extremely cheap. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, you should not have problems with it. I am thinking about adding Gamma Knives to my deck, by the way. I'm thinking about adding more Gamma Knives than Sanjis, by the way, because there will be times where I really wish like I could Mama Ragan a target or Eltor a target right away, so they don't get that much value, and I only have Divine Departure. Because here's the thing, Lightning, Beast Kitten, and Ohm only decrease 1k power, and that's sometimes not enough. So yeah, having the Gamma Knife can help with that. So I will admit Gamma Knife is a very good tech. Sanji is as well, but I am thinking about more playing the Gamma Knife. So yeah, this was the video. This was the deck breakdown. I know it was a long deck breakdown. I kind of wanted to dive into every single detail. And hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, like and subscribe. Comment what you think. Comment what you think the position of this deck will be in the meta. Do you think we'll be doing as good in the West as you're doing in the East? Actually, in the East, it's getting a lot of representation, but not as many tops because of yellow. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching. See you all in the next one. Goodbye.